Welcome back to the New Earth Transitionary Government Podcast. And this is Aurora. And today I'm going to be going through the 5D Business and Financial Council. Obviously, this is another very important council. All of them are important, but of course, there are going to be some of those sectors and industries that are going to require the most overhaul, the most oversight, and the biggest transition. And this is going to be one of those. Business as we know it is going to transition into a 5D model, as well as the financial system, right, is also going to have to transition into a 5D model because abundance is a birthright of humanity. So the roles and responsibilities for this council is that the 5D Business and Finance Council is made up of beings who have experience in business and or the financial sector and are now responsible in educating humanity on transitioning to a 5D business model and a quantum financial system. All businesses in 5D will be based in integrity, cooperation, and equal energy exchange. All corporations will transition to cooperations in which people are put first. All businesses will need to comply with universal law and hold integrity and transparency. Equal energy exchange will be the mode of financial exchange, and this council is responsible for ensuring that equal energy exchange is being honored in all business systems and financial systems, as well as assisting businesses with implementing a 5D business model. This council will meet regularly to discuss the challenges of the business transitions and to form new solutions and training for businesses to understand abundance and synergy. This council will also be the leaders in new innovative ways to do business and to create solutions for all cooperations during this transition. This council will assist with overseeing and guiding all cooperations into the people first model, as well as overseeing the transition of the quantum financial system. So one of the first decrees of this council is the highest goods and services business decree. As decreed by Source, all businesses will now transition into cooperations. Every business will be evaluated by both the NetG councils to determine if the business is for the highest goods and services of all. The guideline suggestions are as follows. The product or service that is being provided by the business provides joy, healing, awareness, support, or fulfills a current need of the collective. Any product or service that does not provide these to humanity must either transition their business purpose or dissolve. Second is that equal energy exchange will be permitted for all exchange of goods and services. So the idea here is that there are a lot of businesses, right? And a lot of these goods and services that are being sold to humanity are not actually for their benefit. It is not to bring them joy, right? And I think joy can be subjective, but we want to basically transition out of this model of having humanity be addicted to consumption of external goods to fill some type of void, right? We are over consuming as a collective. So of course there's going to be products that bring joy to your life, right? They assist you in some way. They bring awareness or teaching, with goods and services, right? If you are assisting, bringing joy, if you are helping educate people, if you are helping to teach humanity, to help them in the transition, to help them better themselves, to help them to heal, all of those would be for the highest good of all, right? And of course, if it is fulfilling a current need of the collective, because as the collective consciousness shift, there are different needs, right? We want to have goods and services available that the collective actually needs. It is actually helpful to them, rather than simply trying to sell them something that actually does not assist them or is really not needed. It's just simply for profit, right? Or sometimes we have the issue where a problem has been created artificially in order to sell a good or service as a solution. We also want to dissolve those. Now, equal energy exchange, I will get into the decree about that. But the idea here is that we have to allow for different types of exchanges that are not just simply money. Although our goal is to have a financial system in which all are abundant, so everyone is freely able to, purchase and buy and get the things that they need. Of course, if they want additional abundance, there are still going to be ways to gain additional abundance for extra things, right? But we want to have everyone have their basic needs met, so that there is no survival mode. But equal energy exchange, is a beautiful thing. It's kind of like bartering, but it's that we can all support each other and exchange different things, right? I could exchange a service for a service. I could exchange my time and energy and assistance in exchange for a good, right? There's many different ways of exchange. So the next decree kind of describes the equal energy exchange economy decree, which is a solution that we feel would bring a lot more ease and a lot more availability of goods and services. So, as decreed by Source, all debt is now forgiven under the equal energy exchange economy. All beings existing within the United States of America are now granted and given financial freedom. All economy is now to transition into an equal energy exchange economy. Money can and will be utilized as a tool of equal energy exchange. However, the exchange of goods, services, support, love, and all other authentic means of exchange are also permitted. The equal energy exchange economy is based on service to the whole, giving and receiving, gratitude, and abundance. Every being, cooperation, owner, etc., may utilize equal energy exchange for all needs. The exchange is up to the discretion of all parties involved to be agreed upon in integrity and fairness and executed with love and gratitude. It is now decreed that lack and debt are to be dissolved from the collective consciousness and economy and to be replaced by abundance for all. Now, the next decree is regarding the quantum financial system, and this is the overall idea of how the quantum financial system would work on an energetic level. We don't know how this will manifest on a physical level yet, but this is talking about the energetic blueprint of the quantum financial system. We are the QFS. Many have heard of the QFS as well as NESARA and GESARA. The basis of these abundance programs is the establishment of the quantum financial system. However, many have continued to give their power away to external forms of this system, not realizing that we as a humanity are the QFS, and Source is the true NESARA GESARA. The QFS is a system that is based on frequency, embodiment, intent, and integrity. Therefore, this system cannot be hijacked or controlled by any single person or group. Imagine the QFS as a quantum energetic network that is already in existence as it is connected to the limitless quantum field. We are connected to this system through our auric fields and through our own personal quantum field. This system is based on frequency, meaning that no one can access the QFS if they are not operating at the same frequency, which is that of love, truth, and abundance, which equals Source. It is through our frequency that we unlock our personal abundance, which is our limitless potential. This system is also based on embodiment, as we must actually embody our God self and embody sovereignty in order to access this currency. Our currency is our hearts, our souls, the embodiment of the higher self. In essence, our frequency is the key to unlocking the QFS. Our embodiment is how we establish ourselves as members of the QFS, and we effectively establish our own personal currency within this system that is based on our cosmic blueprint. We then navigate the QFS and we utilize our currency through our intention. Because the QFS is based on divine intelligence, it only responds to pure intent without any distortions, self-importance, or corruption. When we place our intent for what we are seeking to manifest or receive through the QFS, it must be purely for the highest good of all and not based on ego needs, wants, or desires. Finally, the way that the QFS self-corrects is through the discerning of integrity. If a being establishes themselves onto the QFS through their embodiment, and they then manifest abundance from the QFS with pure intent, but they then fall out of integrity with the use of that abundance, either due to the ego or being out of alignment with universal law, the QFS will then reject the currency until integrity can once again be established. This is how the abundance grid self-corrects and stays in alignment with love. The QFS operates on the abundance grid. It is an energetic grid upon the planet that can only be accessed through frequency. The frequency of the QFS is sovereignty, which ensures that it cannot be hijacked by any person, group, or technology. Only a human being embodying the energies of sovereignty, which are equivalent to love, truth, abundance, and the higher self, will even have access to this system. The QFS will essentially overlay the current physical financial system we have in place. And this transitionary system will need to adapt and align with the blueprint of the QFS during the transition. Eventually, we will shift entirely out of any physical financial system and we will operate solely on the QFS as an energetic grid. So what we mean by that is, again, this is how the QFS works on an energy level. Again, we do not know exactly how that is going to look on a physical level. But we know that whatever physical financial system we transition into will need to align with this energetic blueprint, meaning that abundance is equivalent to sovereignty. And so we all have to rise to that frequency, and so that we learn how to utilize resources properly and in alignment and through the energies of sovereignty and love and truth and all of that. And then eventually, of course, as we really transition into a 5D society, we probably will not have any physical financial system. This will all be an energetic type of exchange system. So frequency is the key that unlocks the door to entering the QFS. Those who do not hold the key cannot enter. What this means is that one must attain an energetic frequency that is a match to true abundance. These frequencies align with unconditional love, truth, sovereignty, integrity, and alignment with universal law. We can embody this frequency through self-love disciplines, ego dissolvement, inner work, self-healing work, taking accountability, and by anchoring in our higher self. Through this process, we also learn to dissolve lack consciousness, lower belief systems, and instead we begin anchoring in the energies of worthiness, internal abundance, and connection to source. The second step is anchoring into this grid through our embodiment of the higher self. This is achieved through connection to Prime Source Creator, the Divine Mother, who is the true Nasara, as she holds the unlimited abundance of the universe. So this is the as above, so below concept, where Mother Earth is the as below. She provides all of the abundance here on this planet to us, and it is the same as above. The Cosmic Mother is who holds the unlimited abundance of the universe. That is just how the feminine and masculine energies work. Through our connection, self-love, discipline, and discernment, we can anchor in our full unique blueprint, or essence, which essentially creates our own personal unique currency, which we use to exchange on the QFS. By accessing our full essence, it is about reclaiming all parts of self, unlocking our inner gifts and skills, and reestablishing our connection to Source. We then gain access to our pure life force energy, which is our co-creative power. Next, we provide equal energy exchange through the QFS using our personal currency, aka our blueprint, through our service to humanity and love. When we are in service to the whole, we are surrendered to divine will, and we hold pure intentions for our manifestation requests, which have no ego, distortions, codependencies, or needs, wants, desires. We then may freely place our requests and intentions out into the QFS. The grid will then respond to our intent by exchanging back to us equal to what we have exchanged with it. Meaning, the higher that the levels of service and pure intent, the greater the exchange rate, so to speak. The QFS is divinely intelligent, so it will only respond to pure intent and will also deliver to us what we are seeking, but in the way that is highest and best to receive it. So for instance, the QFS may exchange to me abundance, miracles, synchronistic events, opportunities, or the manifestations of people, places, or things that can best meet the needs of my intent. We shall always be provided with exactly what we need in that moment, as the QFS can bypass all linear and logical ways of manifestation. Lastly, the QFS is self-correcting, meaning that it evaluates not only the intent and frequency of each sovereign user, but it also gauges the integrity of the user. For example, if a being has established the proper frequency and they have established their unique currency through the embodiment of their higher self, they then have exchanged a pure intent into the QFS, but upon receiving the exchange back from the grid, they fall out of integrity with the original intent of the request, or they fall out of alignment with universal law. The manifestation will then be withdrawn. This is not to say that anyone will be punished, but it will be a learning process for all of humanity, as we are for the first time learning divine accountability and integrity with all of our intentions, manifestations, and creations. We will likely have trial and errors with this process, but we will be given much grace and patience with it as well. The current financial system will undergo a transitionary phase in which the physical financial system and the use of money will have to realign with the blueprint of the QFS. For example, the earning of money will no longer be linked to fear, survival, or fight or flight, but will align with the true abundance and equal energy exchange model. All forms of control or hijacking of the monetary system will cease to allow all of humanity to reclaim their financial sovereignty. The use of money will likely continue through the transition. However, abundance will now naturally flow to those who are in service to the whole, have reached the frequency of love, and have a pure intent. All of humanity will have to adjust and adapt to the blueprint of the QFS in order to unlock their true abundance, which will become their personal currency. Next is the Equal Energy Exchange Economy proposal. The equal energy exchange is the pure synergy between giving and receiving. The essence of equal energy depends not on physical money or even resources, but is based on a sacred exchange between two beings of equal energy. This is the notion of giving and receiving. In every transaction or exchange, we are giving and receiving energy. If there is no energy within the exchange, energy from the heart that is infused with intent, then the exchange itself has no life, no integrity. It is dead. Our current economy is a reflection of our ego minds. What we call inflation is simply a projection of the inflation of our egos, our control, our greed, our arrogance, and our pride. Inflation is when goods and services are inflated in price due to the illusionary shortage of such items. We have created the concepts of debt and lack as a reflection of our own human consciousness. Debt itself is based on the idea that we could owe something more than what we have to give, which shows the arrogance of the human mind. Lack consciousness was an illusion placed within our consciousness that says there is not enough. The very nature of this goes against universal law, as everything in creation is made of energy, and energy is infinite. To create an idea that the universe, that the God within everyone and everything could ever lack, is simply a projection of our minds. Within this matrix, we feel unworthy and separated, and because of this, we seek to own things. We attempt to fill our spiritual void with things and money. Money is a symbol of energy, however, it has been used to create lack where organically there is none. Our economy is therefore built on a dead energy, one that is lacking in spirit, love, and intention. For example, to purchase a bottle of water for $4 to $6 is a crime against humanity. Water is free from the earth. Even our salt bodies of water can easily be filtered into fresh, pure drinking water. To monetize and put a price on a resource which is freely provided by our host is absurd. The exchange is in no way equal because one party decided to own something that is not theirs to own, and in turn has charged money from beings who should have free access to such a resource. This is an example of a dead energy exchange. If we were to return to an economy based on love, there would never be a shortage or lack of anything. Equal energy exchange is the purity of intent to give what you have to another who receives in gratitude and then provides something to meet your need. This is love. This is equal energy exchange. For example, if I am in need of wood to keep my family warm for the winter, but I do not have the funds to acquire this wood, I could offer to dedicate my time chopping wood for someone who has the land and access to such wood. I have now given my love to keep their family warm, and in return, I am blessed with wood for my own family. The key here is that each party is seeking to support and take care of the other in the true nature of understanding that we are all one. Businesses would no longer be based on money, greed, power, or control, but would be based on the mutual giving and receiving, gratitude and love. We are returning to the ways in which our ancestors functioned, and at the same time, we are also evolving into a completely new way of living. The more beings that shift into giving and receiving through intention and love, the more we open up opportunities for all humans to thrive. We are making way for true abundance and oneness to prevail over scarcity and greed. When we take accountability and responsibility for the ways in which we have contributed to such a dead economy, we take back our own power. Every dollar we spend is either going towards the highest good of all, or it's going towards a black hole. This is not about rich versus poor, but about a shift in perception of what giving and receiving is. For those that have many blessings, to be able to give to another to receive that blessing continues the wheel of abundance. If every being was overflowing with the art of giving, then the wheel of receiving would never stop. We would be in the perfect flow and ease of life, never seeking or lacking for anything. What is our resistance to giving? As humans with the ego mind, we fear giving because we give no intention behind it. We give in order to receive, rather than giving and simply being open to receiving. As the human ego grew, so did the monetization of life. Never in the history of the earth have we had to pay to exist. Most things that are now monetized were once freely given. Due to the greed, these things became subject to money, which is another dead energy exchange. When we look at all of the ways in which our existence is now monetized, we will find an astounding list, which includes, but is not limited to, land, housing, food, water, electricity, clothing, childcare, healthcare, education, goods and services. If we feel into our ancestors, we will arrive at the perspective that life used to be governed by freedom. We had the freedom to roam the earth and make a home or space wherever land was available. Those who built upon the land did so for the highest good. They created villages, farms, schoolhouses, factories to produce goods, etc. Communities were tasked with taking care of their own, and there was a role for each and every being in the community, as all was shared amongst them. To have one being in the community without would ultimately fracture the whole. Compared to today, we have so many jobs and professions that truly do not serve the whole, they only serve the few, which fractures the entire consciousness. Returning to the oneness model of life is the basis of the equal energy exchange economy. To respect all beings and nature as one with ourselves, we begin to care for everyone and everything. We close the gap between me and you, and it becomes we. We as a collective can only thrive through oneness, kindness, love, and giving. Those who seek to hoard, control, or put themselves above others are a parasite to the whole. We will also come to realize that if what we are doing is not serving the whole, then we are also serving dead energy. To serve the self and the self only at the expense of others creates a dead economy. Today, we have endless amounts of goods and services which are created and monetized only for profit. Their purpose does not serve the whole, and thus any money that is directed at these goods and services creates more dead energy. For example, if we look at the epidemic of fast fashion, resources from the earth are taken and exploited, put together in poor working conditions by employees who are similarly exploited, and then sold for cheap prices. These garments are often only worn once or twice before their quality decreases, and they end up being thrown away or never worn again. This is a dead energy that continues to serve no higher purpose for the whole and further rapes the whole of its resources. Money has stripped us of our organic ability and urge to create, to be, to laugh, and to be in joy. We don't have time to spend doing the things we truly love because we are too busy working to pay for the things that are innately free. This is the insanity of the world. The irony is that where we find joy, we also find creative passion. And where we find passion, we find abundance. If every soul on the planet was living a life in which they found joy doing what they loved, every soul would be serving the whole. When every being is serving the whole rather than the self, the entire ecosystem naturally and organically supports the all. If you look at any animal ecosystem, you will find that all animals operate under such divine intelligence. They each serve a role which supports their needs while benefiting the ecosystem. If we compare that to our modern day economy, you will see that what we attempted to create was a false and illusionary ecosystem that is not alive, it is dead. The equal energy exchange economy will create a divine ecosystem of life in which all needs are taken care of by the whole. Each of our roles will contribute to this divine flow. There will be those that are guided to teach, to raise children, to grow crops, to build communities, to create art, to dance, to lead, to care for animals, etc. We will no longer need to struggle against the natural flow of life, but will once again learn to flow with it. As we return to the divine equal energy exchange, we return to the divine flow of the yin and the yang, which is giving and receiving. In order to change the way money functions, we must change our relationship to it. Our worth, joy, and purpose is not reflected by the amount of money that we have. Abundance is a state of being. It is the heart set that everything we need will always arrive exactly when we need it. The problem with today's relationship to money is that it is never enough. We are always worried about the future and concerned with what we don't have and that there won't be enough, or that what we need won't arrive and thus we have to find some way to force our needs to be met. This creates both struggle and lack. We spend our existence working to obtain money in order to feel secure, safe, happy, and successful. But when we begin to realize that money is simply one form of exchange, there are many other forms, we shall transcend our attachment to it. Money should be seen as a form of a gift, a form of giving that is used when appropriate. However, what about our love, time, effort, support, gifts, and skills? Those are more powerful forms of giving that we fail to utilize in our everyday life. Use the power of your love and intention to be fully conscious in every exchange that you make. Look at the areas of your life in which you could dedicate more energy and love rather than just money. Look at the purchases you make and ask, is this for the highest good? Will this assist me in being in service? Will this bring me joy? If the answer is no, it is time to reflect on where we are directing our energy and how this is being mirrored back to us in our daily life. Now, the next section is a guide and a training on basically how to transition corporations to cooperations, but I'm going to do that in a separate podcast on the business transitions and things like entrepreneurship in 5D and kind of the 5D business paradigm, and end with this about the QFS and the equal energy exchange. And of course that this is going to be a process. And again, there's going to be a lot of trial and error to this process, and that is okay. But we are certainly going to, the goal is to immediately create financial sovereignty for humanity so that they can truly do what it is they love to do. Because the more of us that are serving the whole with passion and with joy, the more that the whole thrives. So that is for the 5D Financial Sector Council. And I love y'all. I will be back with the business portion of this council.